Welcome to Training 21, Motivation. The outcome is to help your staff understand motivation and to use it in the proper manner, and to be able to differentiate between inspiration and motivation. Now, we're going to focus mostly on motivation here, but let's review the etymology and the definition of both motivate and inspire. Motivate means to give an incentive for action, where inspire means to breathe life into something. We want inspirational leaders that propel a vision that calls us to follow, but motivation we often think of as more internal. So David McClellan did some research and basically identified three dominant motivators that each of us have. And he says that no matter where you come from, you all have three motivating drivers, and one of them will be the dominant driver. Here's a chart to show you what they look like. Sometimes this is called the learned needs theory because McClellan believes that these are learned. So achievement, affiliation, and power are the three primary motivators. Now in motivation, we're primarily thinking about what comes from within us. When you're trying to motivate another person, it's pretty difficult because most motivation is intrinsic. I tend to believe that inspiration is what you do when you try and get someone else to do something, not motivate, but it could be used in both ways. Notice that achievement focuses on effort, desires more feedback to make sure I'm doing the task correctly. Affiliation focuses more on relationships and the avoidance of conflict. And power focuses more on helping other people or coaching, influencing, teaching, accomplishing group goals, those kinds of things. It's interesting when you have a person whose dominant motivating factor is affiliation, who is interacting with a person whose dominant motivating factor is power, there's going to be some conflict, and the affiliation-driven person wants to avoid conflict. That's an interesting part that you need to keep in mind when you're understanding motivation. Now here's just another way of identifying them out. Achievement has a strong need to accomplish challenging goals, takes calculated risk, often likes to work alone. A person that's motivated predominantly by achievement is not necessarily a good team player. Affiliation, however, is a good team player. They want to belong to a group. They want to be in a collaborative setting rather than a competitive setting. Where power is more likely to win arguments and enjoys competition and winning and enjoys status and recognition. And each of the people on your staff are motivated predominantly, McClellan says, by one of these three. We're motivated by all three, but we have a dominant motivating factor. So to understand that, here's what I need to do as a leader is I'm giving coaching to these kinds of people. A person that's motivated by achievement, I need to give a fair and balanced appraisal. They want to know what they're doing right and wrong. I can't sugarcoat it. When providing feedback to people who are motivated by affiliation, it needs to be more personal, more relational. They're not necessarily wanting to stand out, so the idea is that they want to be part of a group, so don't identify them as individuals. And power, those who have a high need for power, need to be in charge. They're effective in negotiations, but the goal of their life is, I want to be in charge. So how you motivate and how you use motivation is a primary factor in understanding what's going to take place. The manner in which you choose to identify the motivating factors in a person's life are going to help you determine how to best lead them and how they can be most effective on your staff.